तेजस्विनावनीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Do you hear me? No.
Yes.
We hear you, but your
feeble.
voice is a bit feeble.
It is feeble.
Okay.
Maybe you can bring the mic closer to your mouth.
Om Parthaya
much better.
Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramruta Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Parakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Na Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So we'll do the 6th chapter. That's what I have prepared for the division. So a few tongue twisters there. One of the shloka. Let us see how people get it. It's pretty. Which one is that number? Only with practice, I think one can pronounce it. That Suhran Mitra. Let's see. That is 9. Interesting. Okay. So this before we go to the 6th chapter, a few notes I have made here. The name of this is Atma Samyama Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. Atma doesn't mean like it is the Pratyagatma or the inner self. It is the Antakarana. Karana is an instrument. So it is Antakarana is inner instrument, which is the mind. So in reality, Pratyagatma needs no Samyama because that is the purest. It is already pure and it Shuddha Buddha Mukta. Swarupa is pure. So that doesn't need any cleanness. It's only the mind which needs cleanness. Essence of this chapter, self-assessment and thereby self-improvement. One becomes a friend or foe to himself. That is Uddare Atmanatma. That is the line. Mind, one-pointed focus. That is because of any wavering mind cannot perform given task to perfection. Hence, keeping mind as pure as possible is the best way. There are Atma and Anatma Vrittis. So mind should engage in Atma Vritti through focusing on the essential goal, exercising limits, and that is the right limits in eating. And then we come to that sleka again. Food intake or roaming around, talking, everything, there should be limits. Then exercising samadrishti, that is equilibrium, that is viveka jnana and treatment to all things, and abhyasa and vairagya are essential. So these are the things that we keep in mind before we go to the 6th chapter. And yoga brashta is talked about. That is somebody who is already ascending in the right path. And then he dies. So what happens? So that is also discussed in this chapter. So first one can read this, please. Anashita. First chapter, first one sloka. Somebody wants to read? Okay.
Hemalataji.
Okay. Shri Bhagavan Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha niragni chakriyah
Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyah.
Chakriyah.
Yeah. So there is a sandhi there. So meaning of this is like whomsoever does his karma without aspiring for results is a sannyasi. He is also a yogi. The one who does not use fire or usage of a fire ritual or stops doing karma is neither a sannyasi nor a karma yogi. So some people think like who gives up nitya naimitya karma and wear saffron robes considered as sannyasis. Some other think few people who give up nitya naimitya karma and start living in small caves, mountains as karma yogis. So these are however external signs and they cannot be in reality the true sannyasis. Sannyasis and karma yogis are signs of internal to the person, that is in vasana nyasha. there is giving up desires, asangatva, katratva, bhoktritva, nasha too. So being away from fruits of action is another indication. In doing nitya naimitya karma is a must, while not doing any vishiddha karma is to be followed. So follow dharma and get away from adharma. So that is the essence of the first shloka. So next one, please.
Yam sannyasamithi prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sannyasa sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana.
Okay. So whatever shrutis that prescribe, then consider them as the true yogis. So whatever is the sannyasi, that is the yoga. You consider that as the true yoga, because not doing the sankalpa tyaga, then he cannot be a yogi. Sankalpa is something like that vritti that arises in the mind. So doing the good sankalpa and bad sankalpa, that we will come to that in the fourth also. There is a repetition of this. So when we come there, we will discuss. One who knows one's sarupa is a jnana yogi, who is clear in his mind about atma and anatma vritti. Atma vritti is the nature, true nature's vritti, or the indications, and anatma are anatma viveka, nishchita jnana, leaving aside the body or external objects as his own. Then he is centered around his sthira buddhi and atma. Karma yogi does not have katratva buddhi and does not have desires of fruits of his karma. So me, mine, such sankalpa is given up, doing karma with attitude of Ishwararpana. Dhyana yogi will also forbid himself with external vrittis, but goes internal upasana dhyana. Keeping Bhagavan as single focused object gains better position gradually. So that is the second essence of that second shloka. Next, third one.
आरुरुक्षोर्मुनि योगं कर्म कारणम् उच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव शमः कारणम् उच्यते.
Okay. One who is interested in the climbing ladder of for better status in terms of karma yoga, jnana yoga, prapatti, for such people, prapti, not prapatti, yoga prapti, for such people doing nishkama karma is the way forward. For him, it goes further to say that jnana, nishta, prapti, sannyasa is the means to follow, shama to be practiced. So aruruksha is like climbing up, and shama is it's a discipline. So whatever sankalpas that we do, that should be divided off. That is the shama. The next one, 4. Maybe I can read myself, or Meera, you want to read? Okay.
यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्जते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते. Should I continue?
Yeah, you can do.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Yeah, enough. We can go like 3 slokas we can do. So what is the fourth one here? When an adhikari gives up objects of senses or vishya and does not get bound by karma, gives up on sarva sankalpa, then he becomes known as yoga aruda, somebody who is ascending. Giving up on indriya vishya and not showing interest, then not keen to do karma, giving up or living sarva sankalpa, Sankalpa Tyaga. All these are Yoga Ruda Lakshana. So there are three types of Sankalpas, that is Malina Sankalpa, Shuddha Sankalpa and Nisankalpa. Doing Shastra Adhyayana helps in achieving Shuddha Sankalpa. Using Shuddha Sankalpa, one must remove Malina Sankalpa. So Sankalpa is, as I told you, it's like a desire or vritti which comes in the mind. The fifth one is one must elevate or emancipate oneself. One should not demean himself, as body can be turned into a friend or a foe. If does not exercise self-restraint, then body can be a foe. If won over, that is control of senses, then it becomes a friend. That is the Uddare number 5. The importance of yoga ruda practices helps in elevating oneself from being liberated from the samsara sagara. Once a person gets to enjoy objects of senses and meeting their needs, that is supplying their needs always, then body needs more enjoyment, that is unending. So it never ends, such a practice. The sixth one also you read, right? Whoever, that is the Bandhuratma Tasya, that one. Whoever using Viveka and Vairagya as tools wins it in the mind, and that trained mind becomes a friend or relative, then such a mind helps immensely, whereas uncontrolled mind acts like a foe or enemy, and thereby downfall of such a person. So there are no external foe or internal foe or friend, all are internal in the mind. So that is number 6. So you can go to the 7th one.
Yeah. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamanayoho gnana vignana triptatma kutasto vijitendriyah yukta ityuchyate yogi samaloštashma kanchanah सुहृन्मित्रायुदासीनं युदासीन मध्यस्तद्वेष्य बन्धुषु साधुष्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते.
Yeah, that one I think Jay Kumarji last time like said use it as one word. Suhran Mitra Yudasina Madhyastastveshya Bandhushu. Okay. So we start from 7th. One who has won over the dualities. Dualities in the sense like cold, hot, sukha dukkha, mana apamana, lava, alaba. These such a person is considered jitatma, and is equated for being attained higher status of the self. Not be bogged down with difficulties that arise, not being flattered when someone does stuti, or keeping balanced mind helps in peace of mind. So that is the 7th one. 8th one is Yoga Ruda Lakshana is being discussed here. Whomsoever has right knowledge and also has Anubhava Gnana, free from all actions of fruits. And whoever has one over Indriyas, like we'll see the mud, stone, gold as equal. That is, he doesn't distinguish between different objects that are external to him, and such a person is a Yoga Ruda. Next is the Jnana is achieved through Shastra, Guru Upadesha and Satsanga, and ascertaining the right principles or Swarupa Jnana, that is the Paroksha Jnana. Vijnana is having understood the above Jnana and living it practically or experiencing it through direct perception or Aparoksha Anubhuti. Jnana Vijnana Truptatma is used specifically to show both are important. Jnana is needed in the first step, Anubhava Jnana experiences is the final step. Considering Brahman as ultimate reality, rest are having lower order of reality. So this also you read, right? Suhran Mitra. So there is a 9th sloka. 9 characters are mentioned here, and how to achieve equilibrium in all. Suhrat, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshi, Bandhu, Sadhu, and Papi. There are nine types mentioned here. And Suhrat is a person who helps without expecting any results. So he may not know the person previously. Mitra is a friend, but this person knows the other person beforehand. Ari is one who despises others or looks down others with contempt, bids bad for others. That is Ari. Udasina is feel of neglect to others without ill will or intended harm or benefit to either one. Madhyastha is one who mediates and negotiates between two factions and help to resolve the conflict. Dveshi is one who reciprocates ill will to another, like who has already harmed him previously. So this person doesn't do bad things to those who have helped him earlier. Bandhu is relative based on previous relations, helps in case of need. Sadhu is the person who helps Shastra and does karma accordingly. Papi is the person who goes against Shastra and does Nishiddha karma, is a Papi. So considering all types, whoever sees Chetana Atma as ultimate reality in each of them is being discussed here. So next 10, Yogi Unjita.
Yogi yujjida satatatmanam rahasistidaha ekakiyata chittatma nirashira parigraha शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाय स्थिरमासन
Pratishthapya, Maheshji.
प्रतिष्ठाप्य ओके शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नात्युच्छित्रं नात्युच्छ्रितं नति नीचं नति नीचं शैलाजिनकुशोत्तरम् तैत्राग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्तेन्द्रियक्रियाः उपविश्यासने युज्याद्
Yunjyad Yogamatma Vishuddhaye.
योगमात्मविशुद्धये
Okay.
समं कायशिरोग्रीवं धारयन्नचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रां स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन् प्रशान्तात्मा विगतः ब्रह्मचारिव्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मश्चित्तो युक्त आसीनमत्परः युज्यनेवं सदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः शान्तिं निर्वाणपरमां मत्संस्थामधिगच्छति.
Enough. We'll have to revise the shloka too. You started from 10th, right? Okay. So this is a sadhana procedure is being talked about here. So whoever practices Jnana Yoga during sadhana chooses a solitary isolated place, keeping both mind and body totally controlled in the anigraha without any binding desires, expecting nothing from others or outside world, leading a life of tyaga. Aparigraha is giving up everything, doing an upasana where mind resolves in Atma. Thus the vritti associated shall be with the Brahma alone. So few steps required to undertake sadhana: solitary confinement, that ekanta living, instruments such as body and mind control, not having binding desires, not storing or collecting things other than Atma, that is aparigraha. Then 11 and 12, establish the clean environment, place not too high, not too low. That is like it should be stable place, keeping asana with garbha grass underneath, on top tiger skin, soft cloth, and then on top clean cloth, keeping the mind stable and controlled, stopping as much as possible all mental transactions, achieving antakarana shuddhi. Doing this practice is recommended. So ways of doing dhyana: keeping the head and body neck steady in a straight line while doing jnana, focusing on tip of the nose without looking at other directions or distracted other ways. In yoga shastra, it is known as Trataka Kriya. So you may have, some people have gone through this, no? Like there will be a light and people keep seeing it as one point of focus. So that is all mentioned here. And 14 is whoever wants to pursue upasana yoga, he should remain calm, mentally peaceful, with complete control of mind, having chitta manas only on Bhagavan, climbing the steps tatpadam or Brahma Sakshatkara, knowingly delve into that ultimate principle of Bhagavan. So four lakshanas are described here: Prashanta, Mana, Chitta, Nirbhayatva, Brahmacharitva, and Manas Samyama. That is the number 14. You completed that 14, right? Prashantatma. Okay, 15. Okay, 15, please. Yunjaneva.
We completed
Yujjan-
15.
Okay, okay.
16.
Okay. Jnana Yogi with exercising mind control, that is having Brahma Baba in mind, which is nothing but one's own Swarupa and also is Moksha Swarupa, that he attains the Paramagati or Paramashanti or Jnanapalam. That is the 15. We can go to the 16.
नात्यस्त्रस्तु योगोऽस्ति न चैकत्तमनश्रतः न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा.
Yeah, enough. Otherwise, I will lose track on the numbers. Okay. So this is how Jnana Abhyasa should be done. Jnana Abhyasa is not available to one who does not eats too much, or one who fasts, or one who sleeps too much, or one who is awake most of the time. So this is a control. Self-control is exercise of self is discussed here. Here the importance of limitations on excessive food intake or not doing fasting. Also, while sleeping too much or lack of it does not help in doing the right abhyasa or dhyana yoga. It is that one needs consider an aspect from wise people. Divide stomach in 4 segments. Fill up two, that is 50% with solid food, 1/4 with water. Balance, leave it as for air to circulate. So that is how it is, given in one of the books. In 17, whoever exercises control or food intake, whoever partakes pranava japa karma, whoever maintains proper sleep and jagrat state in equilibrium as a regular practice, such people will be released from the Janma Marana cycles, attains yoga. In 18, Samadhi Lakshana, one who has exercised control of the mind and is kept in Atma Bhava, leaves behind all binding desires, then such a yoga is in the state of Samadhi Yukta. Sarva Kama Rahita, Chitta in Brahma always. So Atma Sthiti is stationed in 19. Yata Divo Nivasastu.
यथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेङ्गते न इङ्गते सा उपमा स्मृता
Sopama Smrita.
सोपमा स्मृता योगिनः यमतच्चित्तस्य
Yata Chittasya.
यतचित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति सुखमात्यन्तिकं युक्त बुद्धिग्राह्यमतीन्द्रियं वेति यत्र न चैवायं स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः.
Okay.
One more?
That's okay. We'll do that later. So we completed. Okay, 19th is like where there is no yata deepo nivasasto, where there is no wind blowing but steady, and same illustration is given for a person who has exercised total control of mind with unwavering thought process, but keeps steady in his own swarupa. Like mountain is not affected by wind blowing on it or any amount of force. So mountain is undisturbed. So yogi's mind is undisturbed like this. That example is given. So because when you keep a light and there is too much of wind blowing, that light goes off. So it should not be like that. That's a illustration given. Next is 20, with involvement in Gnana Yoga Abhyasa with mind control, where lasting peace is available, and with pure mind enjoys Atma Ananda and understands one's own true nature, Surupa, and attains content, that is self-contented. Such people are true yogis. Jiveshwara Aikya Gnana and Atma Sakshatkara is defined in the above shloka. This is the ultimate goal in life. After achieving this state, nothing else is needed. Example in the Taittiriya, Brahma Vidapnoti Param. One who knows Brahman becomes Brahman himself. Yogi is defined as such a person who has done Atma Sakshatkara with controlled mind, where ultimate peaceful state is achieved with pure mind, enjoying the Atmananda, who dwells in Swarupa and be contented. So you did 21 also too, right? A true yogi who enjoys unending sukha never moves away from that position, but it is not available to sensory perception, but is available to one's own intellect. In Chandokya, Yovai Bhuma Tatsukam, Nalpe Sukhamasti. So this is in Chandokya, I think 7th chapter it's given. Bhuma is like, this is the Brahma, another name for Brahma. So whoever understands or gets Brahma is the ultimate sukha. Nalpe Sukham. Other than this, the Sukha is not there. So Atma Sukha is Ananta, unending. So Sukha Swarupa is Ananta. Indriya Atita, only purest form of intellect. Without Kalmasha, it can be experienced. So that's 21. Can go to 22. Yam Ladva Chaparam.
यं लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यते नाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्या दुःखसंयोगवियोगं योगसंहितं न स निश्चयेन योक्तव्यः योगो निर्विण्णचेतसा संकल्प प्रभवान् कामान् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् शेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः.
Okay. So in 23, one who is the one which is devoid of dukkha should be definitely thought of as that which one has achieved by practice and by form to observe and remain. Till now one does practice but not reach the required siddhi. One must attempt and keep in the line of thinking that either this janma or next one, some future janmas, it will surely happen. With this confidence one must develop. Any negativity or lack of confidence will block attempt to proceed further in the right direction. In 24, the right eligible adhikari making sankalpa and arising from thereof any binding desires, one must overcome all such tendencies and control through indriya, detract from objects of senses, and finally be in Brahma state. When doing the sadhana, how to proceed, how to orient, how and what to keep an eye on, how to keep antakarana is being narrated in this sloka. That is 24. Sankalpa Prabhavan Kaman. Did you read the, okay, 25, next one?
Yeah. शनै शनैरुपरमेद् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत् यतो यतो निश्चरति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्यैतद् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत् प्रशान्तमनसं ह्येनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम्.
Okay. 25, steadily with confidence, keeping the mind away from external objects, exercise internal peaceful disposition, that is the Uparati, then establish mind in the Atma and think of moving nothing else. So Atma Chintanam is the best way to proceed under all circumstances. Shanai is slowly and steadily and go towards that goal. 26th is, as everyone knows, mind exhibits utmost wavering nature. never steady, thinks and roams around various objects of senses. So it is advised to revert back to steady, focused mind on one object, that is Brahman. Just confirm to mind that anything other than Brahma Vastu gives only dukkha and also impermanent. Hence, return back to permanent state of Brahma Vastu. 27. With peaceful disposition, transcending kama, krodha, dosha, that is Arishadvarga part, overriding Rajoguna impact. Such a person is Gnana Yogi. He attains Brahman state. He is also devoid of any kalmasha doshas. So what is Uttama Sukha? That is not limited. It is the Atma Swarupa Sukha only. Any other Sukha is Parichinna, that is limited by time, space and circumstance. 28, have you read? Narayanji? No, okay. 28, please.
युज्जन्नेवं सदा युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुगमश्नुते सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शिनः यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति सर्वभूतस्थितं.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, 28. How to proceed with a plan to achieve Brahma Bhava is given here. That is removing defects of one's own Ragadvesha. Then ultimate peaceful and permanent Sukha Prapti is ensured. Two sadhanas are advocated to remove the Papa Vasanas and Durgunas. Kama Krodha should be removed. Mind should not get attracted to objects of senses or feed the senses with its pleasures. 29. One who is Gnana Yoga Yukta is achieved Atmaikatva Bhava, and one who sees all bhutas and animals equal from the Atma perspective, then he is seeing the Bhagavan, and any Beda will result in uneasiness. When one, then there is Beda or differences, no feelings of Dvesha Bhava. Gnani is praised in this sloka, achieving the Samatva across all domains. That Gnani who sees all bhutas, me alone and in myself, all bhuta are visible. For such a person, I am surely available for perception. I keep him blessed with my Swarupa Gnana. Here, all Atma Swarupa equality is envisaged. So, Paramatma, Atma and Jivatma is same. So, that is the idea here. Tattvamasi is hidden in this sloka. Only Upadhi Beda across Jivis make the difference, but not in the Atma Swarupa. Okay, 31. That is 30 we discussed. Yomam Pasheti Sarvatra. That is the Tattvamasi. Sarva Bhuta.
Sarvabhutastitam yo mam bhajante ekatmam sarvabhutastitam yo mam bhajatyekatmavamastitah bhajatyekatmavastitah sarvabhutastitam yo mam bhajatyekatmastitah sarvata vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo matah.
Okay, we can do that. Arjuna's question, next one.
Arjuna, you want me to read?
No. Next, after that we'll jump.
Yeah.
So whosoever that all bhutas see me, bhuta in the sense both all human beings, see me as Paramatma without any Veda Drishti. The idea of one Bhagavan exists, and in such an attitude serves Bhagavan, then such a Gnani performs any karma as per his prarabdha karma, he still attains me. So Bhagavan is Sarvavyapi, Sarvagata. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma is the hidden message in this sloka. Then 32 is a yogi is considered as Shrestha or topmost when he is able to perceive oneself equal to others in all circumstances. Such an attitude, be it in animal, um, be in Sukha or Dukkha. So who is true Vedanti? Yes or no is examined here. From his behavior attitude, one may examine if he is true Vedanti or not. From mouth, one simply says he is Brahma and he knows everything, and Brahma he engages in doing wrong things to others or ill will, then he is not a true Vedanti. That is, by mouth he will say something, but in work he will do something else. So that is not a true Vedanti. With an attitude of Chikarana Shuddhi, knowledge should be pursued. So that is what is given in the message of 32. So next, Arjuna's question 33. Yoyam yogastvaya.
योऽयं यो अर्जुनोवाच योऽयं योगस्तव तव या प्रोक्तः साम्येन मधुसूदनम् एतस्ताहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वा स्थितिं स्थिराम् चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथि बलवद् दृढं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम्.
Yeah, we will go to the Krishna's answer next time. So now Arjuna has with all these teachings up to this, Arjuna has a question. So mind is always wavering, and because of this nature of mind, achieving samatma or equilibrium is very difficult. So how to achieve that is the question. Arjuna expresses he finds it too difficult to assimilate the teaching in true spirit because of mind not being steady or focused. So Arjuna continues, mind is strongly wavering and gets influenced by ups and downs, circumstances, and has its own svabhava and makes strong convictions and acts accordingly, and is very well known in the world. So hence controlling one's mind is very difficult. So like tying the wind with a rope, he gives an example here, Vayoriva Dushkaram, Sudushkaram. So that means you can't tie with a rope the wind or the air. So that is as difficult as that. So mind keeps wandering from one object to another continuously. It is common experience to all. Also affects the mind. It affects mind too easily when difficult situations arise. So once connected to an object through the respective sense organs, it binds easily and gets released from there is very tough. So mind gets attracted to some desires, so it is difficult to get out of that. So this happens due to vasanas are acquired over several janmas. So now Krishna replies in the 35 and 36.
श्रीभगवानुवाच असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येण च गृह्यते असंयतात्मना योगः दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुमुपायतः.
Okay, so Krishna replies to Arjuna's questions. No doubt, absolutely, Mahabhav, it is indeed difficult to control wavering mind, but with practice and observing Vairagya, it is possible. But there is a definite way to do it. So like elephant is a huge animal, but is controlled with a small sharp, as we call it ankush. I don't know what you call in other language or in English. So it's a sharp object which is kept on the neck, near the neck. So elephant behaves as per the Mahut's order. So that's how it is like a Vairagya, one must observe. Then uncontrolled or wavering mind, which is always behind the objects that sense perceive or feeding to sense objects, then Jiva Brahmaikya state is impossible to achieve. So that is my opinion. One who is delved deep in Atmakara of mind, constantly attempts, then it is possible to achieve such a state. With avidya as avarana shakti, that is avidya covering the mind, it is not possible to elevate oneself. Once it goes into steady state, then goes into an object world, and such a situation, it is not possible to exercise right mind control and also difficult to read the right path. So that is the 36. Again, Arjuna comes with the next question.
अर्जुन उवाच अयति श्रद्धयोपेतः योगाच्चलति मानसः अयोगाचलितमानसः अप्राप्य योगसंसिद्धिं कां गतिं कृष्ण गच्छति कच्चिन्नो भयविभ्रष्टः छिन्नाभ्रमीव नश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढो ब्रह्मणः पतिः एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेतुं हरस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यसंशयस्यास्य चेतानायुपपद्यते.
Thank you. So Arjuna again has a question. So what happens now? Yogaruda's lakshanas were discussed. So what happens if that Yogaruda dies while attempting such a path? So what happens to a person who with Shraddha attempts and elevates and proceed in the right direction path? Meanwhile, he dies, not getting the fruit of Tattvagnana. So what is the future or what is the gati for him? That is his question. So yoga brashta is talked about. Yoga brashta is somebody who is ascending in the right path, but cannot complete that task. So man does the karma and enjoys the samsara sukha, does karma sannyasa and gets jnana too, enjoys atma sukha, whereas yoga brashta loses both these. What happens to him is the question. O Lord, one who is en route to Brahma Jnana path but unable to employ right process or mode but get deviated from both streams, that is iha para, just as scattered clouds which does not produce rain. So here chinna, it's given here now. Vibram chinna brahmiva, that is the cloud, scattered cloud cannot give rains. So iha para both are destroyed. So what happens to such a person is talked about. That is the doubt of Arjuna. One who is unable to travel in Pitrayana and follow these sadhanas and necessary karmas, or traverse in Devayana using the stipulated sadhanas with upasanas, both being bereft of, that person is known as yoga brashta. Both slipped from the karma and jnana marga. So now Krishna replies to that question. 39 and 14. Yeah.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha Parthanaivehanamuttra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Kritkachide Durgadim Tada Gacchati Prapya Punyakritam Lokan Ushitva Shashwati Samaha Shuchinam Srimatam Kehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate Athava Yoginameva Kule Bhavati Dhimatam Etadhi Turlapadaram Loke Janmaya Didrisham Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam Labade Parshvadehikam
Paurvadehikam.
Paurvadehikam Yadade Chatato Bhuyaha Samsiddhau Kuru Nandana.
Enough. Yeah, we'll go step by step. So the 39th sloka, he says, Arjuna, please clarify the doubt of mine. Other than yourself, no one can clear my doubt clearly and comprehensively. So surrender is what is talked about by Arjuna here. So Krishna replies in 40, for such a yoga brashta, neither in this sloka or paraloka there can be vinasha. That is, he will not be destroyed. So who will get into durgati when he does the good karmas? When somebody is doing good karmas, he will definitely not meet a bad fate in the future life. So one is involved in doing good karmas, or Gita Shastra Adhyayana gives confidence. So Gita gives us confidence to proceed in the right direction to get jnana. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is advised. Tat Padartha search and contemplation. In Yoga 41, Yoga Brashta after the death enjoys a loka where good people reside, and after further purification gets birth in a family that is righteous or virtuous too. He gets birth in well-to-do family and also who are religious, spiritual, and helps in furthering the pursuit. Otherwise, higher class yogis, Yoga Brashta, gets birth in Jnani's family. These people may be poor, but having right samskara and right gunas. So enhancing the right knowledge helps in improving upon previous experiences. Though getting such janmas is difficult, only very few people get such benefits because of their very high dedication and past karmas enable them to get such births. That is the 42. And 43 also you read. So Yoga Brashta, like said before in the 2 shlokas, gets birth based on the previous life karma. Then further does Shavana, Manana, Jnanarjana, Sadhana, then tries for moksha way. Whatever practices in his previous lifetime had stopped, he gets to continue in the next life too, uninterrupted. Because of once physical body dies, the mind or Sukshma Sharira part travels further into next life. So that is how it is mentioned. So this keeps happening until it joins the Paramatma or Moksha. Next 44.
पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव क्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मादिवर्तते प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धिः ततो याति परांगतिम् तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन.
One more last.
योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः.
Om Tat Saditi.
ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे आत्मसंयमयोगो नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः.
Okay. So we start from 43. Yoga Brashta. Okay, 44. So the Yoga Brashta for perusal of his yoga abhyasa, even though not firmed up in his decision, because of Purma Janma Sukrita, gets attracted to right direction. So with such desires in mind, his pursuit in the Vedic karma or Anushtana Pala crosses him over, takes him over the right wherever he wants to achieve the Brahma Padavi. Good samskara is most beneficial and helpful. In 45, one who has firmed up with lot of efforts, being paparahita and having done good karmas in previous lives and pursuing such practices of Jnana Yoga, gets the Siddhi and attains moksha ultimately. So 3 necessary steps of Jnana Siddhi: continuous relentless effort and pursuit, many previous lives, good karmas and samskara pala, removing kalmasha or being paparahita. 46 is more than tapasvi. Karma yogi is higher, hence become a true yogi. Arjuna. Yogi is higher in status than a tapasvi, more than a gnani. Gnani means shastra gnana, higher than karmis, that is agnihotra karma. So gnani is paroksha gnani here. So 47 is amongst all yogis, whoever finds my true swarupa or nature, who has shraddha and worships me, serves me, is the best suited to reach me or gain me. So that is a 47. So that completes. I will share this document with minor corrections are there, which I will do and share it in the group. So meanwhile, Meera ji, you can spend some time on doing the summary.
This namaskar. This is all about Vedantic meditation. So ahead of this chapter, we have seen Upasana. So this is more of Nididhyasana. So after giving the Atma Jnanam in 2nd chapter and discussing about it, Krishna is now slowly moving towards, after praising Karma Yoga, is slowly giving the techniques to, assimilate Jnana. So that's why this chapter becomes very important, because this is a step which we can say which is mandatory in order to assimilate Jnana. So Upasanam, we know that Upasanam will not lead to Jnana. It can either take us to Swarga or get us to Brahmaloka, where we have to get Brahmaji as the Guru to get Jnana. But Nididhyasanam will definitely lead one person towards assimilating the knowledge. This is what the chapter is trying to say. So this makes the analysis of Vedantic meditation is done in this chapter by Krishna. So this is one of the unique chapters. This makes this analysis of Vedantic meditation makes this chapter very unique. So these are the few things about this chapter. And then obviously it starts with what kind of sadhana. So it can be Antaranga sadhana, which is discussed, Bahiranga sadhana, which is discussed, and then Dhyana Swarupam and Dhyana Phalam. If you can summarize the entire chapter into 4 topics, it will be Bahiranga sadhana, Antaranga sadhana, Dhyana Swarupam, and Dhyana Phalam. And few topics of obstacles regarding who is a Yoga Rudha, Yoga Brashta, all these topics are also discussed here and there. So these are the overview of this chapter. Then if we are discussing what is Bahiranga sadhana, and here Patanjali also is taken into consideration, because Patanjali also talks about few techniques how to silence the mind, but here they don't emphasize on silencing. It is more of disciplining the mind. This makes it different from Patanjali Yoga Sutras, but some of the techniques have been borrowed from Patanjali in this chapter. So all the Ashtanga Yoga sadhanam like Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi has been discussed in this chapter. So mind, body, intellect, how we can discipline is what Krishna is giving us the direction towards that. So with respect to body, he is referring to all clean place, secluded place. So the before that, Bahiranga sadhana, he is giving Karma Yoga as the prerequisite. He says do Karma Yoga with Ishwararpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. Do your activities. For what? What will that lead to? The violent reactions towards any situation is overcome. You react, but still it's not violent. So you are clear in certain aspects. It becomes, clarity is there, so that you can move towards meditation. With a very violently reacting mind, it is not possible to sit in meditation. So that becomes the prerequisite. Then comes the next topic. He is discussing about confidence. So that's where he is saying Uddharet Atmanatmanam. So mind body complex. It is under your control. So you don't go by fatalistic ideas. This is not fatalism. You can take charge of your body, mind, intellect. This is what is that shloka Uddharet Atmanatmanam. Then self-control, use the mind-body complex completely to your advantage, and execute your free will to get control over your senses, which is again very important to meditate. Then moderation, Natyashna Tastu Yogosti, that talks about all moderation in food habits, in swapna, jagrata, even when you're waking up, how much you have to wake up, sleep, everything in moderation, then it will be very smooth journey towards Nididhyasana. This is what he is talking about. Then Antaranga Sadhanam is giving some of, Bahiranga Sadhanam is throughout the day how your activities has to be, so that it will lead to meditation. Then Antaranga Sadhanam is just before, how you prepare for meditation. Shuchau Deshe Pratishtapya, sit in a proper clean place, secluded place. Make sure that your thoughts are spiritual. That is where Karma Yoga comes into picture. Throughout the day, if you have had a nice day without violent reactions to anything and had a nice clarity on how you work, and how you accept the results. And if the gap between expectation and your and somebody else's performance or your performance is bridged, then you will see that the mind is pretty much calm for you to, which will allow it to sit and meditate. So this is what it is talking about. Then time is talking about, time is like have a sattvic time, preferably early morning. That is what Patanjali adds. Like when your gunas are not all over the place, you have sattvic environment and sattvic guna where your mind is alert. Rajasic will take you in with the turbulence background of the mind. It is not possible to meditate. And tamasic, you will tend to sleep. So it is better to have a nice sattvic environment. For this, moderation plays a role. Too much of food can make us sleepy. Examples. So that's why he's saying observe moderation. Then asanam he's talking about is sthiram asanam. You sit in a very comfortable posture. Keep your spine and neck erect. Make sure your drishti is on the nose. Basically, he's trying to say like you have a focus on a single, probably a teaching or a thought. That is what he is aiming. It's not like physically focusing on the nose. It can be very strenuous. Is talking about focus on the teaching. Let it be one pointed. That's what he's trying to say. Then don't keep your body stiff. And then sense organs, try to, with respect to mind, how do you control? How do you direct it towards a single thought? It is by withdrawing the senses. And that's where the tip of the nose, what he's trying to say is withdraw your senses. Then breathing, he's talking about this thing where he says about pranayama also in one of the shlokas, where samam kaya shiro grivam dharaya nachalam sthiraha sampreksha nasikagram swan dishaschana malokayan. Then one more thing where he talks where he says apana and prana. No, here also he is talking about one of the shlokas where he says watch your breath, prana apana samakritva. So that is where he's talking about make sure that your breathing is regulated. By regulation of breathing, mind and body has a beautiful connection. So when your breath is, prana is regulated well, mind can be under control. And then drop all the roles. Identification with the roles can be dropped for some time during Nididhyasana. That's what even Guruji guides us. And then most importantly, conviction that intellect also has to be regulated, means we should have a strong conviction that this is going to help us. Through our shravanam and through our mananam, we should have the strong conviction about the Shastra and the Guru, the role of the Guru, Shastram and Karma Yoga. We should have a very strong conviction about it. And then next is he's talking about Dhyana Swarupam from 6.18 to 32 is all about Dhyana Swarupam and Phalam. So this is not silencing of the mind, as I was mentioning, it is directing the mind. That is what it makes Patanjali's ideas and Vedantic ideas slightly, it is different. So Patanjali talks about chitta vritti nirodha. He talks about complete control of the thoughts. Here we don't believe in controlling, because it is nature of the mind is to wander. So you give the right kind of thoughts to the mind to revel upon, then it will lead to assimilation of the knowledge. That is what it is mentioning. And then focus, retain and absorption is samadhi. So if you take 6.20 and 6.23, all definitions of samadhi is covered there. So what is samadhi? Samadhi is chitta. Uparamanam is happening. Obviously, absorption is happening, focus is happening, and you're retaining on a particular thought where you have a strong conviction about that. You have heard it enough from the Guru, and you have got the knowledge has been assimilated well. I mean, you have got a strong, conviction about the teachings, and the Shastram and the, and the role of the Shastram and the role of the Guru also. Then Atma Darshanam, it is understanding the, nature of one's own Atma, owning to one's own nature. That is Atma Darshanam. Then what exactly is happening during Samadhi also is taken as one of the definitions. Atyantika Sukham, it is, and then he is established in Jnanam, he becomes a Tattvanishta. Then Atyantika Labha, this is the highest attainment one can look for. So it is Atyantika Labha. Then Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti, he is free from all the sorrows. So it doesn't mean that he doesn't face all the challenges what others are facing. Again, Vedanta teachings is trying to clarify that even though he faces everything as anybody else, but he is well equipped. So with his knowledge, he is well equipped, and it will not trouble him. So he is, and he may have preferences in life, but he is not a slave to any of the preferences. So that is what it means. Then Dukkha Sanyoga Viyoga is a very important definition of yoga here. We have heard of Samatvam Yoga Yuchate in terms of the balanced mind, the definition of yoga. Then we have like another definition where it is I think the dexterity of action, yoga karmasu kaushalam. And then here it is how the identification with anatma makes a person completely sorrowful. So identification to anything samsara is detached. That person gets detached from anything which is identified with samsara. So this definition with respect to de-identification is mentioned in one of these chapters, one of these shlokas where we have this tam vidyat yoga sanyoga viyoga yoga sangita. So that is one of the definitions of yoga. And there is, of course, as Satish ji was mentioning, one of the shlokas where we have Mahavakyas, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Chamai Pashyati Tasyaham Na Pranashyami Sachame Na Pranashyati can be a very good sadhana shloka. Reveling upon and meditating upon this shloka can actually lead one to assimilation of the jnanam. This is what is one of the important shlokas. And then some of the Krishna's Arjuna's questions to Krishna, like I'm not able to regulate my mind, what do I do? So Abhyasa and Vairagya are the two instruments given, two techniques given. So you have to keep practicing. And Vairagya means you have to keep de-identifying yourself with all that is transactional. Though you are in transactional world, try to mentally de-identify yourself. Don't be too much identified with things around you, which will be an obstacle for the sadhana. And then Shanai Shanairu Uparamit. So Uparati is again whatever I like, I just detach myself from that. So you are doing it slowly, Shanai, very, very gently and slowly. And then you will make sure that you are Atma Samstam Manakritva. You will focus yourself on the Atma, means the ideas what we have all come across in the second chapter as Atma, as Avyakta, Achintya, then Arupa, all these Avinashi. So many things, Achidyoyam, Adahyoyam, all this, it cannot be cut, it cannot be burnt, it is Nitya, Sarvagata, Sthanu, all these things about Atma, the second chapter which we covered. I think this is the right time to do meditation on those, points. And then I think it is pretty much then Chitta Vikshepa's wandering mind is there. So Abhyasa Vairagya, as I was telling. And then one important shloka, Yatha Deepo Nivatastaha. What happens when your mind is, how do you understand like your mind is in complete, it is regulated towards the Tattvajnanam. It is Yatha Deepo Nivatastaha Nengate Sopama Smrita Yogino Yata Chittasya Yunjato Yogamatmanah. So it is like that non-flickering flame, only directed towards one thought. When that is happening naturally, at one point, sadhana will become the sadhaka and the sadhya will become, it will just lose its gap in between, and you will assimilate that knowledge.
Gets
With the-
aligned.
Which is
Gets
Yatha
aligned.
Deepa? Just tell me the number.
It is 6.19, Yatha Deepo Nivatastaha. It's an indication what happens to your mind when you're doing this sadhana. It will be like a non-flickering flame. So all that which was obstructing the mind from focusing is all, slowly, Uparati has happened and sanskaras have been weakened, and you are able to sit there in Nididhyasanam focusing on the teachings of the Guru as per the Shastra. This is what is Nididhyasana. And then that knowledge slowly and steadily gets assimilated, because all of us are training our mind for that. Mind has sanskaras which is stopping us from being there. So slowly, when this teaching becomes really well established, one person understands this and nicely with conviction practices on a daily basis, it gets assimilated in each one of us. So all the thoughts which is taking us away from this will be reduced. That is Uparati. And then one gets established well in that knowledge. At that particular point, what happens? Complete transformation. What is phalam? Dhyana phalam. Complete transformation in the vision of a jnani. The vision of the jnani changes. So it becomes a complete transformation, and sarvatra samadarshana. Everything seems to be like an extension appearance in consciousness. That is what happens to a jnani. So that is the phalam. And then he is a jnana nishta. So then all his preferences drops. Even though he has preferences, he is not stuck. He is not a slave to any preference. He is okay with whatever condition, because he knows he is only an instrument. Because he knows that he is an instrument in the hands of, of that which is universal tattva. So that is how he becomes completely santripta. He is contented. So that makes him very peaceful, shanti. And that's the highest benefit somebody can ask for. So obstacles and all were discussed, and I think that pretty much summarizes this entire chapter, which makes it very unique and very interesting also. So Shraddhavan bhajate yoma same yuktatamo mata. Again, he's talking about Shraddha. So constantly free will to execute that in this direction is very important. So this is pretty much the summary of 6th chapter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meera ji. It was nice. Yeah. Any questions we can cover? Otherwise, we can close it.
Couple of things. One, I'm reading from Jayakumarji's notes. Okay, as I wrote as I understood. Correct me if I'm wrong. One is, it said this is about dhyanam and ninidhyasam. The way it is defined is ninidhyasam is required to remove the viparita bhavana.
Yeah.
Or the habitual habits of continue to do what you are doing.
Yeah.
And then another thing was that dhyanam is not a pramana. So it does not give jnana.
Yeah, it's a practice basically.
Yeah, so it is a tool or a prerequisite. Actually, I happen to read a short some so-called summary of Shankaracharya about this Advaita Vedanta and basically this Jnanam. So he said Jnanam, he defines Jnanam there as a what do you call primary element or primary element to get this moksha, and there are three secondary elements, which is dhyanam, this selfless service, and devotion, selfless service, and dhyana. And he gives a metaphor in that. It says it's like you try to cook rice. So the fire that cooks the rice is the jnanam, and the pot and the water we use to cook the rice is the called secondary, which are like the dhyanam, the selfless service or devotion. So it says, but all the other secondary thing cannot make or cook rice by itself. But at the same time, the fire alone cannot cook the rice either. So you need both of them. So that's why he gave a metaphor. I thought it was very interesting. I just happened to read it a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, even I saw something what Sarvapriyananda was mentioning about. He was mentioning about the fire, the pot, the water.
Yeah, I don't know who said, I mean, all it said was, this is a Shankaracharya's.
Yes.
It said, but I don't know, because I got it in a document, I don't know who. All it said was Shankaracharya. I mean, who repeated it, I don't know.
So somewhere here also I mentioned, I mean, I read somewhere notes, what it says is Jnana is Paroksha, like it sits kind of outside, indirect, whereas Anubhuti of the Anubhava Jnana is the direct perception. So that's how very important to make a point here. Jnana remains there, but then experiencing it through the Anubhava or final perceiving that through the one's own day-to-day life is what is more important. That is a Vijnana.
In this context, what you were saying, the water, rice, and pot, I also heard another interpretation of it by Sarvapriyanandaji. Like the fire, its nature is heat. So the heat and the fire cannot be separated. It is nature of fire is heat. But when you keep rice and water, their nature is not heat. They only borrow it from the fire. Similarly, all that which we see with respect to body, mind, intellect is all borrowed consciousness. And then the nature of the consciousness by itself is, like the fire and the heat. It cannot be separated. Like Satchit Ananda Swarupa is the nature of the Atma, which cannot be separated. It only gives it as a borrowed consciousness to everything. That was another interpretation what I saw.
Yeah, the context actually, this I just summarized only one part, but the part actually, the summary I read was about the comparing Advaita Vedanta, and there's some two new terms I came across called Neo Advaita and Neo Vedanta and Neo Advaita. And this Neo Vedanta is there it is mentioned by Swami Vivekananda and others, and the Neo Advaita is about other. So he says that other things, this thing, they are trying to cook rice with one of these elements only. That was the context. But I just extracted that just for this purpose.
Yeah. And one more example. Yeah, please, Rukminiji. Please go.
Actually, we will come to know maybe at the end of reading 18th chapter. I attended a class run by Sakshat Kritananda ji at Rishikesh Ashram, this Upadesha Sahasri. There it is emphasized only Jnanam is moksha. He emphasizes, why, Jnanam is not an object or a geographical location. Of course, we do all the formalities to gain Jnanam. Ultimately, Tat Tvamasi Aham Brahmasmi. That Jnanam alone is moksha. Jnanavan labate moksham. So, Jnanam is the process of undergoing all this. Karma Yoga gives you Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi gives you to meditate. You can, then Nididhyasanam. Then Nididhyasanam gives you Jnana Vijnana difference. Then, after you establish in Shastra Nishta and Guru Vakyam, then you hold on to Shastra Nishta, you just forget about the external mithya, everything. Then what is Satyam? That is, Brahma is Satyam. Brahman is Satyam. So when we reach that point, get that jnanam, that is moksha. That is what it says. So jnanam is moksha. That knowledge only is moksha. So to get that knowledge, we need all the abhyasas, adhyayanam, because it's not easy. We identify ourselves with the body, mind, sense complex, and we identify with external factors. We associate, we have ragadveshas, all these things. We have to vyavaharic world, So when we samatva buddhi, it's all steps to gain that jnana. That is my understanding.
Thank you.
Meera ji, you summed up very nicely the whole 6th chapter.
Thank you.
Quoting Patanjali, you summed up very nicely. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Rukminiji. We need your blessings.
Thank you
So
so much.
what I was-
Meera ji, this has been a wonderful class.
Yeah, what I was telling, one more example was Ramana Maharshi quotes, like one of his shishya asks him, like, how do I control my mind? What is that? How can I do it? So he didn't answer then, but later he had a small cage where he had kept some squirrels protected. And there was always a cat which was moving around. So it was waiting to eat these squirrels. So the mother squirrel and the bigger ones, they stay inside the cage, even if the cage is slightly open, if they put their hand to feed the food and all that. But then the smaller ones, they just run out, So he, at that particular time, he quotes like, these small ones don't know that there is a cat outside which is waiting to gulp them up. So similarly, when the mind is not trained well, it is like that small squirrel. It will tend to move out to the transactional world, looking at all the things which is attracting. It doesn't know there is a big cat. That means you will be trapped and you will be eaten. So once the squirrel, the mind is set in such a way, like it is well trained, then it is like that big squirrel which knows it has to sit inside the cage. So Nididhyasanam is something like that, like when the Shastram and the Guru, this thing, conviction in the Shastram and the Guru is very well established, then it is a big squirrel. Mind becomes a big squirrel. It will not move randomly to the outside transactional world. Whereas now, before, when you start the Shastram, when you are still not fully established, it is like that small squirrel now and then goes. So it's at that particular point of time where Krishna is quoting that Natyashna Tastu Yogosti and all that, be everything.
21.
Yeah, be in moderation, then use a proper place. So after the Jnani is Jnana Nishta, when he is a Jnani, he doesn't need a Suchodeshe Pratishtapya.
Yeah, he can do, because he has attained, who is called a Jnani, who knows
Yeah.
that. So Jnani is not bothered.
He is not bound by any
Yeah,
kind
the
of sadhana.
shucho, that kosha grass
Yeah,
he needs a layer
Yeah.
because he has already crossed this all the stages. He
Correct.
is already jnani.
Correct.
So Arjuna will keep on asking till 16th, I think 18th chapter, Manahi Shanchala. So that is and you rightly said, it is not, we don't believe in controlling the mind. We believe in disciplining. Disciplining the mind is the main thing. So by practice, abhyasena, vairagyena, so you practice, focus on Mahavakyas. Focus on Mahavakyas. Then Sparshan Bahi Kritva. All these things, you gradually, when you practice, then you will become everything. You just leave out, keep everything away, focus on that Mahavakya. Then Abhyasena Vairagyena, you will gain that Jnana Nishta. Again, with that Nishta, you have to get that knowledge. It's only knowledge. Jnanam is only knowledge. It's not a geographical location. It's not an object. You know, Guruji used to say, praptasya prapti. It's already there in us, but we have deviated from that. We have to claim it now. We have to get it back.
Yeah, one of the example, Rukmini, is that somebody sees a stone, but for most of the people it's a stone, but some artist who has a vision, he will carve out a Ganapati or a Shivlinga or something. So it's already hidden, so he takes out that.
Yeah.
So that's how, that is the idea here.
It is the praptasya prapti. I like that.
It's already there. Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah, there is for this, to understand this, there's also a story where it goes like in ancient India. There was a king and a queen, and they were watching. They wanted to their son to do a play because they didn't get an apt girl to play the role of a beautiful, character. So the prince was made to be the girl, and he was completely transformed into a little girl, cute looking girl, to play the play. And then a picture was drawn by an artist. The entire picture was drawn and kept in the attic. And after many years, say probably 20 years or something, the prince grows up and he happens to see in the attic a picture of this beautiful girl, and he falls in love with the girl and he wants to get married to that girl. And when the minister recognizes this, that he is in a depression, he goes and asks, like, what do you want? Why is this happening to you? So the prince says that I am in love with a girl, and she also is a princess, because the little girl is beautifully, decked up with all jewels, and she looks like a princess. So the prince goes and says, like, I want to marry this girl. So the minister says, 1 minute, wait, let me see who this is. And he realizes it is the same boy who was dressed up like a princess. So he says, this is you. So he's out of depression because he realizes that it is him alone. So does it take much time for the prince to get out of his depression? No, because he knows his true nature is what is in the picture. So this is what they say, like praptasya prapti, they quote this.
Absolutely.
And Guru Kumarji is this one, the specs example, putting on
Yeah.
Praptasya prapti is
So
that.
there we need a guru. To emphasize a guru, you have forgotten where you kept. So a guru needs to show you that your specs is here. You are what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the reason knowledge is required, because it is covered by ignorance. No amount of karma will remove the ignorance.
Correct.
Because only knowledge will rule. You just keep on running around and you do all the karmas. That is why karma kanda will lead you only again Mithya Brahmaloka. After going there, the Chine Punye, then you have to come back. So only that jnanam, other karmas, other everything, the Purva Bimamsa, You do so many karmas. They are powerful. They will get you whatever you want. You can get whatever. Vedas have everything. What you want. Ashwamedha yaga, Putra Kameshti yaga, everything there is a way. You get. But then what? Then what?
Yeah, true, true. And the important thing, I think one more thing is Yoga Brashta also, his question.
Yeah.
In spite of the hearing all this, again, he is in a delusion and he is asking like what happens to a Yoga Brashta. And Krishna is very beautifully clarifying like nothing, you are not at loss at all when you are in this path. You either go to Swarga, enjoy, or you actually go to Brahmaloka, learn from Brahma, or you come back again in a wonderful family where you have all the circumstances.
Because of your vasanas, you will get a good conducive atmosphere
to continue.
where you are
And your
pursuing this.
intellect, yeah, you will actually come in direct contact with that intellect where you left in your
Yes.
previous birth, and you will be able to pursue this sadhana, which is a very beautiful message. So I think none of us are at loss.
Yeah, to me, the most attractive thing was that all this moksha and all what we're talking about, we attain in this life, not like after your death. You
No,
become
no,
moksha.
that's the only,
Yeah,
you know,
that is the whole thing.
Paramatma. Once I
Because that
asked,
is why. So sooner you learn, better you have
It is
whatever
better.
life you
It
are
is
left with.
better. It is better. Correct. Correct.
so once I asked Swamiji Paramatmananda ji, Swamiji, will I get moksha in this janma or I may have to take so many janma? He says, Amma, you are already Nitya Mukta, you know.
Only you have to realize.
And he laughed. He says, the moment you realize that you are a Nitya Mukta, you are not Karta Bhokta, you are Mukta.
Correct. True, true. Very true.
So we are all blessed to have Nitya Muktas with us.
Yeah.
So since we have started this journey,
Beautiful satsang, really.
since we have started this journey together, we will be in touch with each other in this life, next life, all lives.
Yeah. Whenever we can feel, we can have a session like this, we can clear our doubts, we can discuss, it will enrich and it will lead us to the more deeper level.
Yeah. Mahesh ji, that day you asked about something called karma, right? Can you once again tell that, can you discuss that doubt, what you had about karma?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Prasad ji wrote some response to that in the
Was it convincing to you?
I'm sorry.
Was it convincing to you?
No, not a question of convincing, but what I was wondering was that I was not sure, because one time we say everything is driven by karma, and then we say, and in the 9th chapter, Krishna says that, or Ishvara says that, I am only a facilitator or a adhyaksha. I just so I don't. So in other words, he's not modifying anything or something. So my question was, in what is that bhakti place? So okay, devotion, I understand what it plays, but my point is, when you go and pray for something, people go and pray because they are not able to get what they want, or they are having some suffering, or whatever be the reason you do. And as we discussed in the last couple of years or more, and Jayakumarji brought this up a few times, what we pray to the God also need to change or transform compared to what we used to do, say 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Having studied so far into the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, on and off you discuss. So my question was then, what is that? Where does the bhakti go? So after Prasad's response, then once I thought was, as Narayan ji said on that day, every karma you do have to have some phala. what they call it, Dushtabala and Adrushtabala, right? So I thought maybe this bhakti will have also certain pala, even if it doesn't change any of your pains or something, at least gives you a different mindset to accept it or to bear it. So that's where I understood the bhakti, the phalam of having it. That's my afterthought, so to speak.
Mahesh
I'm
ji,
not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right or thing, but
No.
I'm saying that's
you are very correct, Mahesh ji, because Ishvara is karma paladata. Okay. In this Jiva Jagat Ishvara in triangular format, when we have to deal with the world, when we have to live in the world, Vivaharik world, we have to transact. So we need Ishvara because he is karma paladata. We need Ishvara. And we have to surrender all our karmas. That is karma yoga, karma yogi bhava. So we surrender all the karmas and Ishvara arpana buddhi, prasada buddhi. When that prasada buddhi comes, you say, you don't ask, give me a promotion, please get my son, get a good job, get my daughter married, all those things. You say, everything I have samarpanam to you as you direct me, as you give my karma pala. That maturity level, instead of asking, instead of questioning Ishvara, when some people suffer, they say, I did so much archana, I did so much pilgrimage, I came to you, I did so many puja, why me suffering? So when that rebellious nature is not there, when you totally surrender to Ishvara and whatever he gives, you have the grace and dhairyam of accepting that as it is your karma pala, then that maturity, that grace you need. So for that support, we need Ishvara, we need bhakti, we need that samarpana buddhi. We talk to Ishvara, you know me, whatever you think, you proper. That trust in him, that strengthens your manodairyam, and that makes you to face whatever adverse situations you come under life.
that is also same thing as this Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Ishvara Prasad.
That is how one
one of the
becomes
reason,
karma yoga.
I mean, even though I asked the question, there was a reason why I asked this question, because in my childhood, there was a family living next to our house, and I kind of grew up in their house because they had only girls. So I kind of grew up in their house, so to speak. So I have a lot of reverence for them, and they used to very pious people with a lot of pujas they do, and one old grandmother and his two sons, and she has three sons and two daughters, and they're all young, much older. And then one of the son passed away even before I knew, and his wife was staying with them. They're all very thick, but this is, I'm talking in 60s, okay, mid 60s, and by the time 75 or 10 years later, both the son passed away. Their son-in-law passed away. One of their daughter's son passed away. That I was there one day. And eventually the grandmother also passed away. So, and everything kind of, the whole family in my mind kind of disintegrated. I mean, they're all there. Even now, I spoke to them, talked to them over video calls when I was in Coimbatore. I used to, at that time I was not, I was young enough not to know, but when I read all these things, that's one of the things, my background. These kind of families, how they, so the only explanation people will give is, oh, that is their Purva Janma, Karma, or something like that. To me, that is a way to explain something unexplainable. So, whether that is the only way, because that is the only way to explain. Because there's no way you can explain these things. So, only way is karma phala is the only plausible explanation. So that was one of the reasons I asked question, but that is part of the reason. Partly also, we have been learning different things. I mean, at least for me, this is one of the first learning. I know you're all learn different things at different people. For me, only Jay Kumar, nobody else. Because I'm in the pre-kindergarten of this. So going to multiple people only get confused for.
Correct.
So I'm only, but I always think about after the class what we learned, and over the period of time, I think we talked about free will. Nobody, God has no, he also has no free will, and things like that. And then I said, okay, if that is says, then I mean I know people go and do a lot of, as you rightly said, Rukminiji, people ask for things, people do a lot of they want things or they need things, they go to Bhagavan and ask for it. But then when we suddenly said everything is karma, then I was wondering, then what does it do asking? So then I kind of thought, okay, maybe it helps to soften the, if I may call, the difficulties. That's all. You may not change anything. What we say, we say we have 7.5 years of Shani or something. Praying to anybody is not going to remove it to 6 years or 5 years, but it helps you to cross that in a better mind.
Have the strength to bear
so that
all
is all.
So I think
that was
think
my.
great.
After the question I asked, and after I heard something and I thought about it some more time, so that was.
So why I asked, I
Anyway,
got
Meera ji, thank you for bringing it so I could. But
no, I was just dwelling on that. I keep thinking about it. That's my Nididhyasana. So
Yeah.
some of the answers were like, first thing about karma, what I understood was prarabdha, what we think like one load is given to us for us to execute in this world, and then there is another load waiting, sanchita, and we are making new karmas which becomes agami.
Waiting is agami, yeah.
Agami, and then we are actually going.
so see, all this started because when we did Rukmaniji was with us in the Tattva Bodha class. That was the first class I attended with Jay Kumarji. And in that, towards the end, he is talking about, we discussed towards the third section of that class, we were talking about Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. You're talking about these three things like Sanjita karma, which you bring from previous thing, and Prarabdha karma, what you have done so far, and Agami karma is what you are yet to do. And the thing is that once you become Jnani, the Sanjita karma, the bank balance is made zero, is what Jayakumarji said, based on the thing. And your Prarabdha karma is, there is no Agami karma because you become Akarta. So there is no karma after that. And whatever Prarabdha karma, it is distributed to the people who either criticize you or appreciate you. So his power and punya distribute. That is the way it was discussed. Okay. And at the end of the last sloka in Tattva Bodha, it was it's a very bold statement. Here it says, once you become a jnani, whether you die in Kashi or in a dog eater's house, it is the same. That is literally what it says in the thing. I very well remember because I was in Kuwait at that time. And because there were 2 hour difference, I was attending class at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. So I remember when he made the statement, Hara Prasad ji almost fell off the chair. So I very well remember that discussion. So that is also another. So they said, that was a good course I attended. I would not have understood Bhagavad Gita without that.
Yeah, that is the
Tattva class.
foundation. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is why
because
it is
I have-
called Prakarana Grantha.
Yeah. So because I have not learned any of these things like what you all have learned. So my thing is very limited.
Even
So
we have not
that
learned,
is-
Maheshji.
No,
Yeah, you are
I
doing.
know like Satish ji, Rukmani ji and all, and I'm sure you also. You are trying to be modest, Meera ji, but I'm telling the fact. So I have not learned. I mean, I know most of our class, lot of our people, like for example, Haras Prasad ji is attending Bhagavad Gita second round. He already did with Jayakumar ji and Jayakumar ji was in Houston. At that time, I didn't attend all those classes. I didn't even know Jayakumar ji at the time. So all those things has happened. So people are attending again and again. So mine is the first round. So every class is new for me. There's nothing.
But believe me, Mahesh ji, when we come to the 13th chapter, it is one of the deepest dives in the sea. It is extremely good. I mean, whoever is able to teach that, I mean, we are having fortunate like Jayakumar ji is able to do it, but it is the best chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. It is the Atma Gnana is discussed there in 13th chapter. Oh my, amazing.
And that is also precisely one of the reasons I consciously do not read any other people's interpretation or something, because I know I will get confused because somebody will say something else and then I'll be confused. So, but having learned all the way to 9th chapter, I stumble upon something. But certainly those things like what I said today about the rice and the pot and the fire, at least I understand. Suppose I had read this 3 years ago, I can pretty sure tell you I would not have understood. But I know at least I understand some sense of what he is referring to. So that's anyway, better late than never. But so that's what. Because in Tattvabodha class, there were very young, I mean, much younger people were there. So I used to envy them because at least when I was their age, the technology was not there. And at least now the technology has helped people far and wide to participate in these kind of learning sessions, right? Otherwise, there's nothing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, especially when I was in Delhi for 70, anywhere you go, it's a project. So far, I mean, Rukmani ji knows that. She lived in Delhi for many years. So anywhere I go, it's a project. So nothing like that happened. Whereas now, at least with the technology, it helps. So
Today we have Amiji also who joined us, listening to us.
Yes,
wow.
I'm so happy to be here. It's just that I'm putting my daughter to sleep.
Oh,
I have moved from Singapore to US.
okay.
It was a big move for us. So still kind of relearning how to live here. And
Where are you in the US?
I'm in Jersey City.
Beg your pardon?
Jersey
New
City,
Jersey.
New Jersey.
Okay. All the
Yes.
best, and I'm sure you'll settle down soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Has Ami
Yes.
started attending school there?
Yes, Arya started school on September 8th. So finally, I think we are slowly kind of getting into the groove of, having a regular week and
Okay.
weekends
So it's
and
almost
chores
like
and stuff.
11 o'clock for you, I mean.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I can't be on camera right now, but
That's okay.
hopefully I'm slowly getting the hang of time zones and what it converts to me right now. Because every time I remember class, it is Monday morning for me, which is already past your class. The class is over long ago. It's supposed to be Sunday night for me to do this class, which is your Monday morning.
Right.
And finally, all of a sudden, after all these weeks of trying to figure out time zones, it happened, and I luckily found the link and everything worked, and I'm just happy to be here.
Good, good. All the best.
Thank you so much for all your satsangs and regular classes. I can't tell you how much it's been at the back of my mind that I need to get back to this. I was just happy I could be a part of it. And today, in fact, the topic that you all were covering was something that I was listening to a talk from Sri M. His talk about yama niyamas and stuff like that. So at least I feel that whatever you were talking, I could at least connect to it versus be completely blank and kind of lost on what's going on entirely. So thank you so much. This is absolute pleasure.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Abhijit.
Okay, can we wind up?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Satish,
Thank you all.
We
Yeah.
wind up.
Om Sahana
Dhanyavadah.
Punaktu Saha Viryankaravavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Vitvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Pyo Namah.
Hari Om. Thank you, everybody.
Dhanyawad.
Hari Om,
Hari Om.
dhanyawad.